All right, welcome to another episode of Head to Head Sports. I am your host, Brian Parker, along with my co-host, Mr. Randall Hargrove. How you doing, sir?
Recuperating, man, but I am good to go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You made it. And even though you're recuperating, you're doing better than a whole lot of players in the NFL this past week. How
Yeah.
about that? And we'll talk about some of those injuries and backup quarterbacks having to step up and maybe even prove me wrong because I said, most of our backups look like crap and it's such a fall off from the starter to the backup that if a starter gets hurt or out for any extended amount of time, I mean, how's the team going to be able to continue to win games in their absence? So we got a couple of those to talk about. Latest news that came out today was Mr. Discount Double Check Aaron Rodgers has tested positive for COVID and will miss the next game for the Green Bay Packers, and that's going to be a shame. It's going to be a game against the Chiefs on Sunday. So he's going to miss that game for sure. Jordan Love will be getting his first start of the season. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We are streaming live. I forgot to mention that on LinkedIn, Facebook, as well as YouTube. And as always, we stream the show on our Roku channel under Empower Network. So check that out as well. If you're watching us, you can send us comments or questions into the live chat as well. So please like, share, subscribe, and let all your friends know about the show too so that they can get in on it as well. We will talk everything from news, games, all those kind of things, just so we can have a place to come together, talk about NFL. Don't do too much about fantasy, but, if you got some fantasy questions, I'm doing better in my league than in my league with Rand, where he beat the brakes off me this past week.
Hey, I wasn't gonna say
but I feel okay because I can't be a genius and a scrub. In my other league with my company, I'm 7-1 through the first 8 games.
In my league with my company, I am absolute sucking. So
I don't get. I mean, I am beating the brakes off everybody to the point that everybody in my league has at least 3 losses. I have 1.
Yeah, I won in my league last year for my company, but this year just off to a very, very slow start.
I won 2 years ago. I came in second last year, so I'm trying to get back to that number 1 spot. And right now, I'm not going to jinx it, but it's been crazy. So I step out of that league, go into your league where I always end up looking like Dookie. So I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Well, the one league that with the company is we don't have a kicker. It's just an extra player, so you get an extra flex. You don't have to worry about
that's a nice option.
Yeah. So we don't. It's a Yahoo league, so we don't have a kicker in that league. It's just a defense, and then you get a 3 wide receiver combos in addition to your regular position players. So yeah, you have the ability to earn more points that way too.
Okay.
So, anyway, enough about fantasy. Let's talk about what's really happening because there's enough that's really going on to mess things up. So again, Aaron Rodgers is going to be out against the game at Kansas City. I'm actually not worried about the Packers in that game necessarily because if they do to the Chiefs what they did to the Cardinals, it was minimum quarterback play. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback, so he steers the ship. But it was a lot more about that defense and what they were doing. And if that defense can keep Patrick Mahomes jumping and stuff like that, Kelsey hadn't looked like himself. He hadn't been able to get the ball downfield and it's having a hard time. And if the Packers come back out with the mindset that they're just going to run all over you like they did to the Cardinals, Jordan Love just has to be decent. If he can just be decent, I'm still going to give it to the Packers. even though it is in Kansas City.
Yeah,
Because I have not seen anything from Patrick Mahomes to make me think that this would be the week. I'm just not. I'm not there. I'm not there.
it'll be a tough place for Love to go into and to win. But I mean, hey, it's the NFL, man. I mean, what we've seen here recently is just absolute chaos as far as picking who's going to win these games, because you never know who's going to step up. You never know who's going to fall flat. And lately, Kansas City just, to me, appears to be an unmotivated football team.
I mean, dude, it took a prayer for them to beat the Giants.
The Giants, man.
The Giants gave them a hell of a game.
And wasn't that game in Kansas City, I believe?
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, they just really seem to be an unmotivated team.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they really pressured Daniel Jones that much in that game. I mean, he did throw that early pick. It was a bad pass, but he still recovered. He threw 22 for 32 for 222, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Yeah. I mean, he had a pretty good game. I can't say that the defense necessarily slowed him down. They were 4 for 12 on third down, 1 for 2 on fourth down. They did sack him 3 times. Okay, true enough. That's because he holds the ball too long sometimes. Or he's trying to decide if he's going to take off and run. And he is a running quarterback, and so is Jordan Love.
Yeah, and that could really help them out.
Yeah, Daniel Jones he only ran for 12 yards in this particular game. That's because Devontae Booker was doing his thing. Devontae Booker had 15 carries for 60 yards. Not like he was setting the world on fire, but that is 4 yards to carry, enough to keep moving the chains. And most importantly, time of possession. Now, the Giants didn't win time of possession, but they did eat up 25 minutes against Kansas City, and the Chiefs had 34. But it was just one of those games that the more you keep the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands, it starts to make him look a lot more ordinary. The things that look so easy to him in years past now just seems very laborious. Like he just doesn't have it. He's out of sync, whatever it is. Anthony says Love going to suck. That's why they signed Blake Bortles. Well, they signed Blake Bortles in case Love get knocked out. Love gonna start. I don't know. I don't think Love is gonna suck. Is he gonna be rusty? Yes, but here's the advantage of finding out Rodgers tested positive today. You got 5 good days or 4 days to install your offense based around Jordan Love, not Aaron Rodgers. As long as the line can protect him enough and the coaches keep imploring him to make sure that if you don't see anything, throw it away to live another day. Don't take unnecessary sacks and things like that. I know a lot of that just sounds elementary and stuff like that, but you got a young quarterback. He's been waiting for this moment. Sorry it had to come like this. Your team is just won a game that nobody expected them to win because your top 3 receivers were out. You just lost your tight end for the rest of the year. Nobody gave Green Bay a chance to win that game. And if people say that they knew Green Bay was going to win that game, you're a damn lie. Now, you might have sat there and guessed it just to go against everybody else, but you didn't think in your heart of hearts that Green Bay was really going to win that game. But yeah, so Anthony thinks Love is going to suck. I don't know. The backups have been fooling me. I would have thought that Cooper Rush was going to suck in the Dallas game.
White. I keep saying Mike
White.
Who the hell
is going to make them say Zach? Who?
Who the hell is Mike White?
Mike White
comes out and tosses for 400 yards.
Mike White against the Bungles,
which is not a bad defense.
Yeah. Hold a second before I jump into that, because Anthony just threw up a disclaimer. Anthony, you could go either way about that. You're absolutely right. He said the Packers didn't win. He said AJ Green was playing on the wrong team. Bruh.
Poor AJ. He gonna hear all
AJ thought he was still playing for the Bungles, and he did what Bungles would normally do. That's all I can say. I agree with you to that point. that it took a 4-leaf clover for Green Bay to win, but they won. That's all you're going to say. It was the same way when Taylor Heineke won a game when, who was it? New York sat there and went off sides, and then they were able to re-kick, and they won that game. Oh, those your Redskins, too. I'm sorry. Your Washington football team. Laura, I said it about 3 times now. Your Washington football team won that game, so you would be able to use the same deduction and say, well, they didn't really win that game. The lineman played for the wrong team, right? I'm just saying, hey, at the end of the day, when they're looking at the wins and losses in the box score, they're not going to sit there and look at it that way. I get what you're saying. You're absolutely right. AJ, all you had to do was swivel your head around. He put it in the right spot. He couldn't have put it in a better spot.
AJ should have taken
and whether they lost the game or not, you know what, Kyler Murray, I'm a believer now, man. I'm a believer. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I doubted you. I just didn't think that a 4'7" quarterback could do what you do. But hey, people said that about Doug Flutie too, man. So it is what it is.
AJ needed to be in the cornerbacks meetings this week.
Well, I'm sitting there thinking, dude, you knew that D Hop wasn't in the game, or he wasn't supposed to be in the game. Apparently, he was just checking himself in, even though he wasn't supposed to be out there. And Kingsbury said that ain't going to happen anymore. But you knew you were going to be the main target, I would imagine. They're trying to be nice about it and saying it was miscommunication. I don't know if it was miscommunication or you just boneheaded. So that's why I dropped him off one of my fantasy teams. I don't need that to happen anymore. He got cut from me too. But in the Bengals game and the Jets game, yes, to your point, Rand, I don't know who Mike White is, but not only did the defense not make this kid look frazzled, he completed 37 of 45 passes. First of all, he's the backup.
The backup. That's what I'm saying.
And normally what you would normally have a backup do is maybe have a pedestrian game where at the most he throws 24 passes, maybe. Complete 16, 17 of them, maybe. Throws for about 190 to 210 yards. Maybe a touchdown and an interception. Very pedestrian game. Isn't going to lose the game for you. It's going to be that traditional game manager. Dude said, nah, bruh. 37-45, 405 yards, 3 touchdowns. He did throw 2 picks. That is true. But he threw 3 touchdowns and he threw for over 400 yards. Michael Carter loves him. Michael Carter hadn't been getting that kind of love. Michael Carter ran for 77 yards, but he also received 95 yards. That's his best game from a non-number 1 pick. Or whatever pick he was, top 3. That's just crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Mike White, who?
Like Mike Jones, right? Who?
Yeah, who? Exactly. Anthony says the question is if Matt White plays good again, what do you do with your second pick? You sit him. You make him watch. He's on his first year of his contract. If you make him sit, you ain't wasting nothing. Now, they say you're not supposed to lose your position to injury. And I always go back and say, ask Drew, what's his name, Bledsoe, how that worked out for him with Tom Brady.
Yeah, Zach, let's let this knee heal completely.
Yeah. We're going to do the same thing that we told Tyrod in San Diego when Justin Herbert started balling out. Take all the time you need. We want to make sure you're completely healed. We don't want to rush you back. And then start referencing Zach and his calf or somebody else that came back too quick. Who just came up? T.Y. Hilton, he's out again. Well, yeah, we need you to really, make sure you're fully healed, even if it takes a couple of games. We'll be all right. We got Mike White. Even Zach probably said, I'm not losing to no Mike White. Yeah, you are.
Mike who?
Now listen, it wasn't like he was playing a garbage team because the Bengals had been balling. The
Just
Bengals have
came out
been
of
balling.
nowhere.
The week before that, they had just blown out Baltimore. This is the same Bengals team that beat Baltimore 41-17, is in
In
the game of
Baltimore.
their life against the Jets. What? Yeah, and I know some Jets fans in New York that they go to the games, they already know what it is, but they're just Jets fans. They're masochists, they like pain, they know it's not going to ever end well, and they are just happier than happy. They had their Super Bowl Sunday. That was
Oh
their
yeah,
Super
definitely.
Bowl. um
Definitely.
so we'll see if the Jets Jets will be able to continue. I don't know. They got to go to Indy tomorrow to play the Colts against Carson. Both my knees hurt Wentz. We'll see. I've never seen a Jets fan in my 33 years on this earth. Dude, they're out there. And the funny thing is they're not like Cowboy fans. They don't hide, win or lose. They normally pretty proud fans.
They are.
They are. I mean, I'll give them that. They are muddled in just mediocrity and sometimes even worse than that. And they don't hide from you. They'll tell you flat out, I'm a Jets fan, damn proud of it. Remind me of like Cub fans. I mean, they don't care. They can suck and they still tell you.
Glutton for punishment.
For real.
Yep.
So they are very, very good with that. If you just joined, welcome. I see some folks popping in. It's week 8 is done with. We're going into week 9, which is technically now the middle game of the season. 8 games up, and we got 9 to go, or 9 weeks to go rather. How is your team doing? What do you think? Are you starting to look towards the draft? Do you want your team to go ahead and tank the rest of the game so that you can get some top picks or trade down in the draft and whatnot? Or is your team on the rise? Did you think they were dead? Are they coming back to life? Do they have a shot? We've got our 4 division winners, and then we're going to have 3 wild card spots in each conference. Is your team going to be win the division, or are they going to be able to get into one of the wild card spots? So we'll talk a little bit about that too. We're also talking about injuries. We're talking about how some of the backup quarterbacks this past weekend stepped up and showed, you know what, you might not have heard of me, Mike White, but you're going to remember me now. I bet you the Bengals know who Mike White is.
Get your Mike White jerseys at the New York Jets team store right now.
I bet them Dallas Cowboys know who Cooper Rush is.
Oh my
God. Look like Andy Dalton's son out there.
You know what's funny about that? Mike White.
What's that?
Mike White looks like what's the Ravens' old quarterback that won the Super Bowl?
Flacco.
Yeah, he looks like Flacco's son.
That's funny. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, you had Mike White doing his thing. You had the Cowboys playing the Vikings, and pretty much everybody had written off this game that, hey, the Vikings were going to win because it was a good chance Dak wasn't going to play. Hold on. I thought Randall was a Pittsburgh fan.
Yeah. We're going to clear that up in a minute. Yeah.
yeah. We going over there. We're going over there. But I want to give Cooper Rush some props because he played a heck of a game. 24 of 40, 325, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Now, again, it's not that I don't like the Dallas Cowboys. It's never been about the team itself. It's about their fans.
Yep.
That's all it's ever been about. Most of them, not just fans ever.
Have you ever seen fans on Facebook celebrate regular season victories like Cowboy fans? No. It is insane. They have an absolute party with every regular season victory. I don't understand it.
Well, like when they win, the first thing that Fox will do is go to the booth and see Jerry Jones jumping up and down and stuff, and they hugging. And man, the only thing missing is the confetti at that point and a couple naked girls.
Right.
I mean, they ready. They ready for the ticket. They were and everything. I'm like, dang, it was.
You know what? You're absolutely right. So I guess I can't blame Cowboy fans because they're just following their leader. You're right.
They are. But yeah, every time they win, you take a shot at that press box and you would have thought that it was the chip. And I guess when you ain't been there in 25 years, that is your chip. Maybe it is. But you know, I always talk. If you got all these rings and stuff you talking about, act like you've been there before.
Yeah,
You know,
true that. Yeah.
it's just business as usual. You know, it's one thing for everybody else to have expected you guys to lose, but everybody in that locker room in the organization should have said, "Nah, we knew he was going to win. We know who Cooper Rush is. We see him in practice every day." It should have been everybody else that was stunned. Y'all should have known it. So they were just surprised everybody else Cooper Rush did what he did. That's what they tell me.
It's just so funny. I see, I look on Facebook all the time after, games are played in the NFL and, teams with recent success, Kansas City Chiefs. I know quite a bit of Chiefs fans. When they get their victories, they don't say anything. I know some Bucks fans, when they get their victories, they don't say anything. But Dallas, after every regular season video, you see people posting, how about them? You see people posting videos literally lighting cigars for a regular season victory.
I've seen that.
I don't get it.
Oh, they be looking at them Country Wayne videos and stuff.
Do you get that on your page? Do you see these mass celebrations of Cowboy fans on your page?
Yes. I shake my head and I'm going, you're just setting yourself up for the inevitable. Why do that to yourself? It ain't about November. It's about January and February.
Thank you.
It's like they celebrating because they know that January and February might not happen. So let's get the celebration here now. We don't want to show up and find out that we ain't invited to the party. So we got the party favors now. So we're gonna go ahead and start celebrating. That's a good rationale. You can ask anybody, as long as the Cowboys don't make it to the Super Bowl, it was a great NFL season.
Hey, amen to that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, God knows. Yeah, I'm just ready for it. I mean, they're going to the playoffs this time, at least for sure. But going to the playoffs and making it to the NFC Championship game is two totally different things. I still think if I gave my power list of the NFC, the Dallas Cowboys are at least the fourth or fifth team when I think about the NFC. So if you're not a 1 seed or a 2 seed, then you're going to have to play a team tougher than you. And, the one criticism, and it's not the Dallas Cowboys' fault, you play who's on your schedule. But just because you have this cream puff schedule, that's not necessarily doing you any favors.
Yeah.
Because you look good right now. You're playing teams that you should beat, and you win those games, and that's a good thing. But is it really getting you ready for the postseason?
Right.
When the adversity comes in the postseason, that's the wrong time to be dealing with that kind of adversity for the first time. You want to already be battle tested. They got the Cowboys playing the Rams if it plays out. Yeah, and then I would have the Rams beating the brakes off of them, especially since they just added Von Miller to a defense with Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald.
That is a Cowboy L all day long.
Oh, my God. What did the Rams just do? You go ahead and keep double teaming Aaron Donald. Good idea. Go ahead. Triple team him if you want to. Von Miller going to turn the clock back on you.
Yeah, he's motivated now, man.
Yeah, and he may not have the same speed and this and that and the other, but when you get a little longer in the tooth, what you do have is up here. Yeah. So you can start to sit there and be able to use those angles and stuff a little bit better because you're thinking. You're not just relying on your raw talent and things like that. And those little young bucks he trying to get around to get to that quarterback may not be ready for that. And you're already having to put so much attention on Aaron Donald. You line up Von Miller on the other side, on the blind side.
And that's exactly right what you just said. He's coming from a Denver Broncos defense, a defensive line in which he was the concentration, okay?
Right.
Now he's in a position where he's no longer the concentration. He's going to be freed up to do his thing. That makes a huge difference, man.
Oh my God. When they call everybody to come after him and then they even bring the safety down and Jalen Ramsey is involved in blitz packages.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. On Better Thought, y'all go ahead and celebrate. Because it ain't gonna happen in January.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
If y'all gotta play the Rams, oh damn.
Better move out of that position for real.
Yeah, you might want to go ahead and lose the game so you don't have to play the Rams. I'm just saying. Yeah, that's not going to be fun at all. The NFC. So anyway, I'll get back to the standings in a minute. But Dallas, you did a good thing. We had another backup quarterback have to come into a game, and that was because Jameis Winston got hurt in the Tampa Bay game. I thought he had a concussion at first, and then when I saw the replay and the way his leg went back behind him, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
He probably would have preferred a concussion. He is now out for the season. Trevor Siemian, speaking about Denver, the former quarterback for the Broncos, actually came in and performed admirably. Trevor hadn't played a regular season snap in a while, and he came out there and he outdueled Tom Brady.
Which is crazy.
Which was nuts for a couple of reasons. First, Trevor, 16 to 29, 159 yards, one touchdown, no picks. So he didn't have to do a lot. They did keep the ball on the ground a lot, with Alvin Kamara doing 61 yards. Winston had run for 40 before he got hurt because they were playing some kind of two deep zone with the safeties out. So once he got through the second level, it was just wide open grass.
Yeah.
So he was able to just kind of step up in the pocket and take off because there was nothing there. And the safeties had their backs turned around, and they see the quarterback running up. Then they had to, try to come get him, but he'd already run off 12, 13 yards before they could do it.
Yeah,
so,
man.
And then Mark Ingram makes his coming back home to New Orleans, and he gave him a nice jolt. He actually had 4.5 yards to carry, 6 carries, 27 yards. Deontay Harris, 1 carry for 22 yards. So they were actually running the game. Clock management really kind of kept Tampa in some, they were 8 for 13 on third down, but a lot of those third downs were hard. There were a lot of 3 and outs. There were a lot of punts. They got to Brady 3 times. I'm sorry, they got to Brady 1 time. They sacked him once. But the time of possession, New Orleans controlled it. They had 33 minutes of the ball, 25 for 26 for the Bucs. So that's how you have to do things with a lot of these good quarterbacks. Is the best way to stop them is to keep them off the field.
Not only that, you just mentioned, Simeon had 159 yards passing, which doesn't sound like a whole lot until you go inside those numbers. You got to realize Winston played almost all of the first quarter, I guess.
Yeah.
So I was watching the game when Simeon came in, and he's from Denver. I hadn't seen him in action since Denver, so I was like, oh, this kid's going to come stink it up.
Right.
No, he did a lot of his damage in that second quarter alone, man.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, what is this?
Yeah. Because at halftime, you're right. New Orleans was up 16-7.
Yeah. So he did a lot of that damage just in the second quarter alone, and then kind of sustained it a little bit in the second half. And I know that the Saints didn't sack Tom Brady a whole lot, but that pressure was causing him some really bad problems. He threw 2 picks, 2 bad picks.
2 bad ones. Yeah.
So I hadn't seen that from Brady in a while, man.
Right. Where it looked like their defense was confusing him a little bit, where they were masking some stuff. Because it looked like he was throwing straight to the defender. And I'm just like, what is he doing? This is Brady.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because he still threw 4 touchdowns in the game. He threw for 375 yards. He completed 28 of 40 passes. Outside of those picks, he actually had a pretty decent game.
Yeah, had a Brady-like game.
But sometimes it's not just the picks; it's when you throw them.
Yeah,
because it's a momentum changing play a lot of times, and that's exactly what happened. It changed the momentum of the game. You're doing a good drive, all of a sudden you throw a pick, changes the momentum of the game. Then they go down there and they score. Whether they're getting a field goal, whether they're punching it in for a touchdown.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that they got them, and it's a division game, and division games sometimes are a little bit more competitive, even when they shouldn't really be. So we'll see how that goes. Jameis is done for the year. There's no guarantee that he's going to be back with New Orleans. The way I understand it, it was a 1-year experiment, and he only signed a 1-year contract. But I think he did play well enough that if they don't keep him, he'll pop up somewhere else.
Oh, absolutely. He'll be somewhere else, man. Which is while you kind of went there, I'm gonna segue with that one. Cam Newton, it amazed me that nobody picked the guy up here at the trade deadline. Especially New Orleans, which I thought was a prime candidate and a prime place for him. Um, didn't even sniff him. Didn't sniff him at all. Didn't want him. Went out and said it publicly.
They should have had Cam and Odell Beckham Jr.
I'm telling you, man. So I'm like, what is going on with Cam as to where now he is the black sheep of the NFL?
You know,
I
I
know
was
the
thinking
guy,
about that. Is Cam
yeah,
is Cam the new Colin Kaepernick?
the new Kaepernick. I'm like, what is up with that? He went and got vaccinated, so I thought the vaccination was in his way. But now that he's vaccinated, it's like teams still are not even interested. So did he make that big of a mockery of himself his last stop? Is the word out on Cam that he's just too much into social media and not as into the playbook as he should be? Is that the knock on Cam now? I know that Belichick has a lot of say so and power throughout the league in these owners' meetings. So, kind of wondering what's up here, man.
My brother says I thought Seattle picked up Cam. Nope,
No.
they're
They
riding with
had
you.
some initial talks and initial interest in Cam, but it never went any further than that.
Yeah, and I don't understand. You know, when you're having talks and it doesn't go anywhere, that's making me think: was it money? Because I think Cam has made enough throughout the years to where it can't be over money because he signed basically a $1 million deal with New England plus incentives just
Yeah,
to play for the Patriots. So,
he
and
took
you
two
got
of
to
those deals back to back. Don't forget that.
right, and
Two of those
you got to take the league. You got to pay him at least more than the league minimum. Anthony Philip Rivers said he would come out of retirement if the Saints make the call. I can see that.
I could see that too. I could see that. Philip Rivers was I think he was doing high school football down
Yeah,
in Louisiana.
yeah.
So now that that is over with, who
And
knows,
then
man?
and he says now you have more drama with Michael Thomas not playing the season. Yeah, Michael Thomas had a setback with his ankle surgery that he had in June,
That's
and
right.
they just realized that he's had another setback that's going to keep him out for the rest of the season.
Brian, if
And
you
Sean,
remember, I'm
mhm.
sorry, if you remember me talking about this, I think last season with the AJ Green ankle injury. The ankle injury is hard to come back from for a
Yes,
wide receiver. It really is.
that is true. That's true. So you know whether this is something that excuse me they'll clean up, and you know the questions are going to be next year. Is he going to be back to his regular season form? Thomas planned that. He knew he needed surgery. Yeah, that was that whole thing about you played all the way through last season with it. As soon as the off season came, why didn't you get surgery? Why did you wait till June, knowing that that was going to keep you out of training camp in the first couple of games of the season? I know him and the Saints went back and forth with that. But even at this point, he should have been coming back pretty soon. And now it's not going to happen. And now you got to deal with the receivers that you have left on the team, Traquan Smith being one of them. That's not a whole lot, even though Sean Payton is saying all the right things that he's confident in those guys and everything. But yeah, if you could have an Odell Beckham, you would want an Odell Beckham. I can't understand how they couldn't make the money work because none of Odell's contract with the Browns this year is guaranteed money. Only thing they owe him is roster bonuses
Yeah.
over the next 2 years.
Odell was sick of it, man. I want out of here. I'm done.
Yeah, they sent him home, didn't they?
Yeah. Didn't want to even practice anymore. So it was an amicable parting of the ways for both his side and the team side. Strange ending to what everybody saw when this guy was initially signed as a powerhouse team now destined for the Super Bowl.
And you know, as
Strange
much of a
ending.
diva as I've always claimed he is, he actually kept his mouth shut, even
Yeah.
when he actually had a reason not to.
Yep. You're right.
You know, as much as they talk about, you know, he's a headache and this and that and the other, He really wasn't. He wasn't a distraction. He wasn't showing up at press conferences saying, doing the Keyshawn Johnson going, just give me the damn ball and all that kind of stuff. He didn't do any of that.
Very, very low
He
key.
didn't talk about how he was better than the other receivers and all that kind of stuff. Or you're looking on the sidelines and he throwing stuff, and he didn't do none of that.
Nope. Very, very low key.
So I'm gonna give it to him. Like, I know it was getting on his nerves. Anthony says, that's the rumors an hour ago. The Browns cut him, Las Vegas, and the Saints are eyeing him, might get him.
Let's talk a little bit why Vegas would be interested. Ruggs, wow, man. I really hate when young brothers with everything in the world going for them, do it to themselves, man. That was absolutely pitiful. This dude gets jointed up and does 156 miles an hour, killing someone.
In a Corvette, runs into a Toyota RAV4 and kills somebody.
156 miles an hour.
Now he's facing 2 felony charges.
Up to 20 years.
Up 20 years.
Did it to himself. It's sad, man. Really sad.
That was just weird. I get it. You got a nice young lady in the car. You trying to impress her and everything else, but bruh, you already putting her in a Corvette with you. She with an NFL player. How much more impressing you got to do?
Exactly.
And you already know that even if you hadn't killed somebody, going 156 miles an hour could have still got you a ticket or a citation, and then the club would have dealt with you.
So, read the comment Anthony just said, man.
I'm sorry, I blame Ruggs. He's stupid. It's easy to get an Uber or a Lyft in Vegas, and he had a gun in the car.
Of course, absolutely ridiculous. This guy's a millionaire. Yes, you're absolutely right, Anthony. Could have got an Uber, could have got a Lyft. So easy.
And a lot of these teams provide after-hours numbers that if you need something like that, they can even help you out, whether it's a car service or drive. Maybe you don't want to get in a Lyft. Maybe you don't want to get an Uber. They have car services for the players to keep them out of trouble and stuff like that. Yeah. A lot of players don't want to do it because they're like, well, I don't want the team in my business. Well, how did that work out?
Yeah.
Not everybody in your business. And you ain't going to have no business because you sat there and threw it all in the toilet. It's sad that it happened. Hopefully it's something that some of the other young players will be able to look at and keep them from going down that same path. I hate somebody had to lose their life. He got to live with that for the rest of his life, that he made a bad choice and it cost somebody their life.
Yep.
That's why drinking and driving is very, very crazy to do, because it can affect other people around you.
Absolutely.
You might walk away from it, but that doesn't mean everybody else gets to. Yeah. Whoever passed away, somebody was waiting for them to come home. And you made a bad choice because you wanted to impress some hottie in the car with you. Just, it ain't worth it, man. It just ain't worth it. So, the Raiders are definitely going to be interested in a receiver. They've got a lot going on for them right now. They're playing Jermaine Parker, say no to drugs. Amen. They got a lot to play for right now. Currently, the Raiders are in the lead in the AFC West. They're at 5-2. In spite of the fact that they lost their head coach, they're still just chugging along. Derek Carr is doing what he's doing. So the team is looking good. They have basically a 1-game lead over the Chargers. If they can keep it up, then the Chargers would definitely clinch a wild card spot. But the Chargers are starting to slip a little bit. So Vegas is taking every advantage of it. Chargers are starting to kind of come down a little bit. I don't know what's going on with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, hopefully Ruggs will get the help that he needs. And, our condolences out to the family of the person that did not make it in that unnecessary wreck. Total unnecessary wreck. Switching gears, speaking of the Chargers, while I was talking about the Chargers, they lost to the Patriots.
Weird, right?
Another one.
Yeah, and this week was just full of them. Just full of them.
I mean, Mac Jones put up 1835, 217. Again, pedestrian game. Pass it when you need to. We're going to lean heavily on the run. Sometimes the run will set up the pass. We'll get you in some play action, get you to run out of the pocket a little bit, throw on the go, and those kind of things. And that's what he's more comfortable with. He did all of that, didn't throw a touchdown, but he didn't throw a pick. Their touchdowns actually came. One was Damian Harris. He ran for a touchdown. The other touchdowns were defensive, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I know Adrian Phillips had 2 picks. And that's how they scored. I know they kicked a couple field goals and things like that, but they beat the Chargers 27-24. They put a lot of pressure on Justin Herbert. Did not look like himself. 18-35, like Mac Jones numbers, 223 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks on Justin Herbert. That is just amazing. And again, time of possession. I go into this on a lot of these teams. Patriots, 35 minutes time of possession versus 24 minutes with the Chargers. When the quarterback is dangerous, you keep him on the sidelines. You run the ball. That's how you control it. They had 142 yards rushing for the game. That's it right there. It's, a lot of this about football, y'all, is not a bit secret. If the opposing quarterback is lethal, keep him on the sidelines. Run the ball.
Yep.
Run the ball.
And that actually sets up a very good game this coming Sunday between the Patriots and the Panthers. We're going to have 2 teams that are interested in winning the exact same fashion, which is running the ball, play good defense, don't do anything careless on the offensive end. So this is, I believe, will be a good one. I'm hoping that Darnold will be able to play. That sounds strange for me to say, but I'm hoping that Darnold will be able to play this one because I don't have any faith in the backup. How you feel about PJ Walker potentially being the starter?
I never liked the signing to begin with.
No.
I don't know what they see in PJ Walker, but they obviously didn't see enough of it in the game after Darnold got knocked out, because it was more of Chuba and Royce and everybody else running the ball and him handing it off. When he did have an opportunity to run it into the end zone, he froze.
Yeah, man.
He had a clear lane on that right side, and I'm like, dude, that was 6.
Yep.
Or very, very close to the 1 yard line if they angled it right. But I was expecting his athleticism to take over because he is an athletic guy. But he just looked like the moment was too big for him. Like, look.
Exactly.
I just saw Trevor Siemian, Cooper Rush, and Mike White ball out. I'm going to need you to show me something. I didn't know Ruggs killed the woman and her dog. That'll end up bad just because the woman is white. Well, it's going to end bad, period. But
period.
Yeah, it's going to end bad, period. More so probably because he killed the dog. But hey, but yeah, it's sad. It's sad all the way around, Anthony. It really is. But back to the Panthers Patriots. It's going to be in Carolina. It's a 1 o'clock game. I think Stephon Gilmore is not going to need any motivation for this game. Shaq Thompson looked like he didn't miss a beat after being out for 2 or 3 games.
Oh, my God, he lifts up that whole defense.
He is a beast. Their energy runs through him. You can tell the difference. When Shaq is on the field, that defense just has an extra gear. They have an extra chip on their shoulder, and they're trying to knock your freaking head off. Even sometimes making Brian Burns just a little bit too aggressive. But I'll tell you, sometimes Burns is just so ready to sack that quarterback. Oh, he ain't had the ball for a couple seconds? Oh. Roughing the passer? Okay. He'll remember me. Like, I guess that's what it is. Like, he'll remember me. But yeah, those guys get amped when he's out there, and I was happy for Gilmore when he got his interception and the way the team rallied around him. Being the new guy and everything else like that. So now he gets to play his former team, who he was in contract talks with, or he was trying to get his contract redone, and they basically said, "We don't think you're worth it, and we were going to outright cut you," until Carolina said, "No. We'll trade for him."
Yeah.
And it's going to be at home because he's from Rock Hill, which is only 20 minutes outside of Charlotte. It's just all of the trimmings for play like you did in Atlanta, and you'll get another W.
You remember when I was saying a few weeks ago that if you take certain people off of a team, it just changes the entire dynamic. Like you take TJ Watt off the Steelers, and the Steelers defense is just lost. Shaq Thompson is that dude for the Panthers.
Amen.
If you remember the first half of the Dallas game, before he got hurt, we were in that game. I think we were winning that game, dominating defensively. He goes out, and then Dallas starts breaking up all of the big runs and all of the big plays, and they get their lead. And since Shaq Thompson has been out, we've lost like every one of those games. He comes back, and now we're looking like the old defense that we used to be. And Anthony, let me go ahead and address this. I know that you said that you thought I was a Steelers fan. I am. This is not going anywhere. I don't know if you can see that. I am Steelers number one all the way. Number one.
You should see this picture that he shared as a youth with his Pittsburgh Steelers shirt on that I guess your sister took, which was awesome. Yeah, he is definitely a Steelers fan all day, every day, and twice on Tuesdays.
I support the Panthers because they're the local boys. Me and B live here in the Charlotte area, so yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, speaking of your Steelers, they had a trade themselves. They finally got rid of Mr. Melvin Ingram, traded him to the Chiefs. So I think that was a good decision for everybody involved. He wanted to leave because he wanted playing time. I was talking about that Panther behind you.
Yeah, Panthers are number 2 team.
Oh, okay. That's why he said that, because you got that Panther behind you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Panthers number 2 team.
Yeah, Anthony, down here in the Charlotte area, we've only had the Panthers for the last 27, 28 years. So a lot of us that are older than that had other teams first. Or a lot of our folks that are down here now, while they're Charlotteans and everything else, they come from other places. There's a lot of Eagles fans. So, and Pittsburgh fans and Cowboy fans and Washington fans. We got a lot of everything. I see a lot of Green Bay fans here, actually. A lot of Cleveland fans. You get a lot of that in a city like this. So that's their primary team, but they root for the home team as well, where they live now. And it gets a little dicey when the home team plays their first team, because they're going normally with their first team. There have been plenty of times I've looked at Bank of America Stadium, and it looked like Three Rivers Stadium of old before Heinz Field.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I've seen Panther Stadium turn into MetLife Stadium up in New York. I've seen it do it, and don't get me started on Cowboys. And when we just had the Eagles a couple of weeks ago, I saw more Eagle jerseys coming out than I saw in South Carolina. I really did. I saw all these Eagles fans. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. He said, true, we got more Cowboy fans than Washington and DC, which is crazy. That is crazy. That I don't understand.
I don't get that one.
That one I don't get, Anthony. That is more than crazy. That's insane. Yeah, because those are more established cities with their organizations and stuff like that. Carolina, I mean, I remember when it was them in Jacksonville as the expansion teams and stuff coming into the league and stuff. So, yeah, we go back that far. But for a lot of us, kind of the same thing like with baseball. And congratulations to the Atlanta Braves. While I said that, is a lot of us, we didn't have a major league team in this area. So Some folks pick the Braves. Some folks like me pick the Yankees. And, it's kind of been like that. And if we end up with a team down here in Charlotte, which could happen at some point, we'll root for the home team and that still will not keep me from being a Yankees fan, even though I ain't had a lot of reason to be a fan lately. But I don't want to go there right now. But Mr. Melvin Ingram is now a part of the Kansas City Chiefs. That will help the Chiefs, I hope, shore up something. But the Chiefs have been busy. They also took Daniel Brown, a tight end, from the Jets. That's kind of funny because I guess they need somebody to back up Kelsey or to play opposite of Kelsey. That's going to be interesting too. But the Chiefs got into the mix a little bit. And as we talked a little bit earlier, the Broncos sent Von Miller over to the Rams as well. So that's going to be pretty interesting.
I want to say I read somewhere Kelsey has some rib issues going on, and that's kind of limiting him. So he might.
Is that what it is? Because he's definitely not right.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if it was just more because Mahomes doesn't look right, but it looks like it is a combination of a couple of things. It's not just all Mahomes thing or all Kelsey thing or all Tyreek Hill. It's a combination of a lot of things. And sometimes they just get too cute and they just need to play straight football sometimes. He said, I thought that was Gronk. Gronk did have rib injuries. He came back in the New Orleans game for rib injuries. You're tight end. I mean, you're going to get some ribs because you catch a lot of balls across the middle.
Yeah.
You as you're turning to go upfield, you're getting hit right there. So that's going to happen as a tight end. Or if you're a slot receiver, that's going to happen. Because the quarterback like to lay you out. He likes to throw. He likes to throw while you're in stride. Well, what that means is the cornerback can see you before you see the field going upfield, and they get a lick on you like that. So, but Kelsey has some ribs issues as well as Gronk probably still does, but just enough that he can take the pain from it because your ribs don't heal up that fast. He's just at a pain threshold now where he can deal with the hit, and maybe he's got a flap jacket on or something like that too to help him with that. Any other games that went on that were pretty interesting this past week you thought of?
I was paying heavy attention to my Steelers-Browns game. I thought we had a chance to win that one. I thought it was interesting how Cleveland kind of lost that one as much as we went in there and won it. But hey, man, it's a victory. We'll take that all day long.
Win and move on.
Division. Yep, especially a division. So
now, I did have a question. Did the Eagles really have to beat the Lions like that?
Poor Goff.
I mean, now listen. Okay, here's the crazy part. The Eagles scored 44 points, right? Jalen Hurts throws 9 of 14 for 103 yards for the entire game. No touchdowns and no picks. And they scored 44 points. None of it came because of a pass.
That's crazy.
Boston Scott had 2 touchdowns. Jordan Howard had 2 touchdowns.
Did either one of them have 100 yards on the ground?
No.
Wow.
Boston Scott had 60 yards rushing. Now, Jalen was the top rusher. He did run 7 times for 71 yards. So he did have that. But Boston ran 12 times for 60. Jordan Howard ran 12 times for 57. Gainwell ran 13 times for 27. And Rager ran 2 times for 21. So they put up a good 100 and 200 yards rushing. Let me be more exact. They put up 236 yards rushing to Detroit's 57 yards rushing. That's why they won the game. Time of possession, 35 minutes to Detroit's 25 minutes. Third downs, they were 5 of 10, so they were good there. They didn't allow any sacks, but they sacked Goff 6 times. And he fumbled. But yeah, for you to sit there, put up 44 points, and not a dang bit of it was through the air, that's crazy.
I said
I guess they could say, you know what, Brian? We didn't mean to score 44 points, but if we're keeping it on the ground, they damn sure didn't stop us.
What are you expecting to do?
I guess that's true. It's not like they were just throwing dimes in the air and, catching bombs and stuff. That didn't happen at all. So that was just interesting that he only threw for 103 yards. Great for the running game. Your receivers probably look very anemic and would wish that you throw the ball. But the fact that they basically took the ball out of Jalen's hands. Anthony says, I feel sorry for Goff. That line didn't block for nothing. Not with 6 sacks. No, sir, they sure didn't. Yeah, Detroit, they're 0-8. Here's the question. Are they going to win a game this year?
Man, I said at the start of preseason that the cupboards were bare in Detroit.
Because listen to this. Their next 2 games is at Steelers and then at Browns. Then they got to go to Chicago and play the Bears. They can't beat the Bears right now. The Bears defense would go after Goff. And then they got to host the Vikings. Then they got to play the Broncos. Then the Cardinals.
They're not going to be favored in any of that.
Then the Falcons. Then the Seahawks in January in Seattle in the cold. And then, as if it wasn't bad enough, they got to get that bad man Aaron Rodgers to close out the season. This team could probably go 0-17.
Like I was saying last year,
it'll be the first 0-17 season team too, since this is the first time we had a 17 game.
Like I was saying last week, keep an eye on that Dan Campbell situation, man.
This is karma for what y'all did to Jim Caldwell. I'm gonna keep saying that. You can see the Falcons, really, Anthony? I don't know. I think that Falcons defense might get them. They ain't the best, but that line, like you just said, if they can get home with just 4 and pin the rest of them back and keep everything in front of you, that's just punts waiting to happen. That's punt 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. If 4 can keep enough pressure to get to the quarterback, if you don't have to drop another one down or 2 down or do a whole bunch of exotic blitz packages, I don't even see the Falcons having trouble with them. That's how bad Detroit is. That's more of an indictment against Detroit than me saying that I think the Falcons are world beaters. Matt Ryan on a good day, though, can torch you. And Calvin Ridley may not even be back by then. But if he's not, I would be surprised if they didn't try to go out and get some other receiver. And Kyle Pitts is really, really coming of his own. Now, Carolina shut him down, which was impressive. But you're not going to consistently get teams to shut down a dude that freaking big.
Not Detroit.
Not Detroit. Exactly. He's going to have a field day. If I'm Matt Ryan, he's going to be the leading receiver that day.
Absolutely.
Oh, my God. What are you going to put on him? You put a linebacker on him, too slow. You put a cornerback on him, too small. What are you going to do with somebody like that?
You're going to lose.
You're going to lose. It's an L. It's an L.
That's an L.
Anyway, upcoming games this week. We already talked about that the Jets got to go down to Indy. Any other games that you're looking for this week?
My boys playing in prime time.
Are y'all getting a prime time game?
You know how we get a prime time game, man. We that team with the 6 big ones on our fingers. So they all always look out for prime time.
The Bears come to Heinz Field.
We gonna chew on
TJ Watt is just waiting to welcome Justin Fields into the league.
Oh, most definitely. So that's the game I'm gonna have eyes on.
I got a feeling that if Claypool and the other guys come out to play, they can definitely win this game. I still would see it being a low-scoring game.
It will be, yeah. Just the offense that we're at right now. Roethlisberger is not that dude that's going to put up 300 yards.
And that's okay. That's okay if you can play field position and win those in the trenches games. That's that old Steelers, rough them, tough them, run the ball, pound the rock kind of game.
Yep.
When the Steelers started airing the ball out, that was kind of weird because they were always known for just grounding you down and beating you. And, you know, that's them days that they got to go back to out of necessity more than anything else. And then take your opportunities with your passes, with your receivers. With is Washington still playing?
Yes, he's there.
Okay, you got Washington, you got Claypool. So take your picks with those guys, but rely on your run game to open some of that up. It's like boxing. Get a couple body blows in before you go for that uppercut. Get him tired so he drop his arms a little bit. And then when he drop his arms a little bit, just beat him. That's my boxing tips for you. If you want to know how to beat somebody, body blows. Take it.
I think Pittsburgh is finally realizing that Big Ben is playing much better than he was at that start of the season, that 3-game losing skid that they had. They're taking the ball out of his hands, concentrating more on the run game. The only thing I wish they would do a little bit more of is some play action.
Yes.
They're going to need to do that in order to win games down the stretch. Pull up those linebackers, make them respect the run a little bit more.
And then that's what you have to do. That's why you have to establish the run, so they have to respect it. So then you can get into serious play action, because then they have to take it seriously.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the other primetime game the night before. Is going to be Tennessee Titans against the LA Rams. I'm interested because, as we all know, and we're praying for a speedy recovery, Big D, that bad man, and I ain't talking about Aaron Rodgers, that man that just hurts people is hurt right now, and that's Derrick Henry. Hope you come back, dog, before the season ends. I still think that they're going to win their division regardless, just because, number one, their division sucks. Number two, the only team that would be in contention with them would be the Indianapolis Colts. Well, they've already beat the Colts twice, so they effectively have a built-in 2-game lead over the Colts. So even if they finish with the same record, the Titans would win the division. So Tennessee would have to fall completely apart for Indianapolis to have any chance of winning the division. That's the only way. If they keep pace, then no, they don't really have a shot. But I want to see what the Titans do with their new secret weapon, Adrian Peterson. All Day is back in the building. And we're going to see
on that birthday cake.
Huh?
How many candles on that birthday cake?
Oh, bruh. They couldn't do the round cake anymore. They had to go more with the sheet cake. So they say, well, wait a minute. The candles starting to fall off and slide as it gets warm and stuff. So they had to get the sheet cake out. Oh, yeah. Well, you know, it was either him or Frank Gore. Hell.
Oh, my God.
And I heard, and I was listening to NFL radio with Jim Miller and Pat Kerwin. And Pat did bring up, man, I would love to see Frank Gore. He's great in the locker room. I'm like, and he's been training apparently to be a boxer. So he's like, yeah, he's probably in the best shape of his life and stuff. And I'm like, stop it, please. He's like 89 years old. You know, let Frank Gore die. You know, he keeps coming back. It's like every October the 31st, you know, there's going to be a new Jason movie. You know, Frank Gore is still going to be there somehow or another. You can't kill him. You can't kill him off. I don't know how he does it. I have all the love and respect for Frank Gore, but I'm like, come on. You mean it? I mean, bring in Cam Newton, let him be your running back. Like, come on. That'd be better than Frank Gore.
Cam would probably sign up for that right about now.
Yeah, I think he would. I mean, hell, you let Tebow try out for a tight end. You can't let Cam try out for a running back. I wonder what the difference is. I don't know. So, what? He's going to score a touchdown and dab? Is that what you're worried about? So we'll see. We'll see what the Titans can do against those hot Rams. Matthew. The only thing that stopped Matthew Stafford last week was Sean McVay. He took him out of the game and put in the backup. That was the only thing that could stop Stafford last week. He was killing them. It was like 38-0, and they came back and won 38 against Tennessee. It was 38-22, but they had already done their damage through the first 3 quarters. It was 38-0, and Houston scored 22 points in the 4th quarter. Stafford, through the first 3 quarters, though, had already thrown 21 of 32 305 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. And what would he have done with a full fourth quarter?
Mike White.
Mike White. Now it's going to be funny if we say, hey, he's pulling the Mike White. Oh, God, that's gonna be a thing now. What's he doing, Mike White? Okay. Gotcha.
Mike who?
Mike White. Yeah, and of course, I'm going to be looking at the Panthers Patriots game more so to really see if, it seems like when they're away from home, they've been doing a little bit better. Let's see if they can pull something together at home. Brad says not going to celebrate beating up on a struggling team, though. Brad, you need to celebrate, bruh.
Is this
and I'm not saying celebrate the same way that we were talking about early in the show, how Cowboy fans celebrate after each game for no particular reason at all. Like Rand said, they have cigars out and confetti and everything else, and it just looks absolutely ridiculous. But your Rams are, and I told you, I think your Rams are going to the NFC Championship game. I have no reason to doubt that. Right now, they are tied with the Cardinals at 7-1. But I think Green Bay showed it doesn't mean everybody can do it. You have to have the personnel to do it. Strong running game. We got bigger fish to fry starting this week. Schedule gets tight. Yes, it does. Tennessee, you should win that game. And I'm going to tell you why. Tannehill will throw at least one pick to Jalen Ramsey. At least one. He's going to have to rely more on Brown. And his name? Receiver?
Yeah.
And so he's going to have to rely on him. I want to see how AP does with the Titans. Or is it a torn ACL waiting to happen? Oh, God, I hope not. But, yeah, I think that the defense of the Rams is going to put Tennessee in a lot of 3 and outs. We'll see how they're able to run the ball. Putting any running back there wasn't the thing. Derrick Henry was the identity of that team. And you brought up earlier, Rand, that when you take away a certain piece from a team, it changes the makeup of that team. Derrick Henry is that team's Shaq Thompson for Carolina.
Absolutely.
He's the heart and soul of that team. The heart just got ripped out. And Julio isn't healthy. So everyone's going to target Brown on the other side. And they're going to look at Adrian Peterson and be like, okay, we dare you to get to the second level. And we're going to take your head off. Absolutely love that dude. Yeah, I think Jalen, you got Jalen. Now you can't triple team Donald because now you got Von Miller on the other side ready to sit there and just take Tannehill's head off. That ain't going to be a good day. I'm sorry. I don't know what it would have looked like with Derrick Henry. I really ain't giving them a chance without. They may prove me wrong, but if the Rams lose that game, it's going to be more because of the Rams than because of the Titans. I just got that feeling.
You're putting the game in the hands of Tannehill to pull it off? Nah, bro.
Yeah, if you put it in his hands to manage it, that's one thing. If you put it in his hands to win it, no. Brad says one thing we know is that AP will be in great shape. We do know that. But Father Time is undefeated unless you're Tom Brady. AP does not really show me in his other stints, like with Washington, that Father Time was not winning. It showed that he was still serviceable. You're going to need something more than serviceable in this running game to have a chance against the Rams. So, Brad, normally I wouldn't tell you that because I know how you feel about your Rams. I know you love them. And I know you probably think I'm trying to jinx them. I'm really not. I'm on board because, I'm not delusional. I can see what's in front of me. This team is built. They were willing to walk away from Deshaun Jackson because they got what they need. They were willing to say, we good. And walk away from each other. Von ain't the same dude he was years ago, but you still got exactly. He's always been the focal point, as we said earlier. Now he doesn't have to be the focal point for teams to sit there and identify him. Because if you don't double Aaron Donald, he's going to come get you. But now if you sit there and play him one-on-one and Von Miller one-on-one, you're going to lose that matchup. So you got to pick your poison. Von might not have the speed and athleticism that he had, but he still has this up here.
Absolutely.
And when he's playing those young bucks and he's sitting there doing his different moves, his swims, and all that other kind of stuff, believe me, he's going to get to that quarterback, or he's going to cause a lot of pressure and a lot of disruption. And if those receivers can't get open downfield, good night, Irene. He is going to take them to church. So
while we're on the Rams, I want to give it that's Brad's team.
Mm-hmm.
So while we're on the Rams, man, I'm gonna give them a lot of props because I heard something today that I was just absolutely blown away and shocked with their upper management. You know, the last time the Rams had a first round pick was 2016.
Wow.
And they have built this juggernaut of a team without any first rounders. So mad props to that GM.
Wow.
Yes.
Damn.
No first round pick since 2016, and they don't have one this upcoming draft either.
That's unheard of.
In this day and age, yes, unheard of.
Yeah, you got to identify good talent, you know, and you grow them, you develop them. Yeah. So they're building it the right way. That's why I'm like, I see what they're doing. They're adding piece here, piece here. The whole Stafford Goff thing now just looks totally like a genius move. Move. He said, thanks, bro. They've drafted very, very well in later rounds. They really have. And a lot of times that's where you find your gems, you know, because there's so many expectations from a first round draft pick and ain't afraid to make splash trades. They are not. And they're definitely doing it. I see that. Yeah, your team is, they're looking like they're built for the long run. That's why I'm like, Cowboy fans, just wait a little bit because there's still some other teams in the NFC. They got a whole lot to say. You're going to win your division. True that. But then I see the Cardinals and the Rams coming out of the NFC West. I see the Packers coming out. I see the Bucks and the Saints coming out, possibly. And then you got one more wild card left, and that's going to be a toss-up between the Vikings, the Bears, the 49ers. Any of those could make that last one.
Hey, don't forget who's sitting in that spot today as we speak. Number 7 spot, Carolina. It ain't over for him. It ain't over for him.
Yeah. And an owner who knows he's got to spin coin in a big market. Yeah. I mean, bring him out to Cali. Exactly. LA. I mean, how hard is it to sell somebody on coming to play in LA, though? You got that backdrop. Hey, man, we can get you tickets to see LeBron. Hey, man, we can get you tickets to see Kawhi. You know, come on, man. Hey, man, all the beautiful girls here, man. It's Hollywood, you know. Yeah, you're gonna get people out there. Good to see Carolina get back in the win column. And Anthony says, no, Jerry Jones spend money and still sucks. But he spends needless money on the wrong people, and he sucks because he's the GM and the owner, and he takes his own advice and won't listen to nobody. That's why he sucks. And he believes that he should be in front of the camera more than his own team. And normally the coach that he goes for is one that will be subsequent to him instead of sitting there making the decisions on his own.
He's the puff daddy of NFL owners. All in front of the camera.
Oh, yeah, right.
In the videos.
That's right. But when you're in LA, you come with death row. That's exactly right. And that's a great analogy, though. I never thought about it that way. He's in all these songs in front of the camera. That's Jerry Jones all day. He's Puff Daddy and May. And Sean McVay and all those guys in management over with the Rams, they just do their thing behind the scenes and they just keep it moving. Now, the only thing you see with Sean McVay sometimes is he wants to show everybody how pumped he is, so he wear those little medium shirts and everything. Everybody knows he's fit and stuff. But, you know, he's still, you know, he's a youthful guy and everything, so that's good. But Jerry Jones just, that's a whole different cat, man. He was more like Daniel Snyder, where it was more about him. He said, hey, no hating on Puff. He personally killed our music. Why? By sampling all of it? Good point, Brad. Well, look, I am so far over, but I had such a good time today. Y'all, thank you for joining us every single week. We're looking forward to week 9. Of course, this is the middle of the season. Hope your team is in a good place. If they're not, hey, the couch is going to be big enough for all of us come that time. So with that said, y'all, I am Brian Parker with Randall Hargrove. Y'all have a great week, and we will see y'all next time.